Language is one of the most powerful forces shaping human life. It is not just a collection of words and rules, it is a system that reflects where we come from, how we grow, how we think, how we interact, and how society views us. Across many linguistic articles, a larger story emerges, one showing how language is intertwined with culture, evolution, identity, power, history, and everyday experience. Language and culture are inseparable. Every word, gesture, and every style of speaking carries cultural meaning. Different cultures use languages to express values, politeness, hierarchy, and identity. A rose means love in many English-speaking communities, but chrysanthemums evoke funerals in German culture. Even basic conversational habits vary across societies, how people greet, compliment, argue, or show respect. Language is a mirror of the shared world people live in. It reflects traditions, metaphors, norms, and the values of the community. And this relationship is not new. It stretches back to the origins of humanity. Research by Charles Hockett explains that speech evolved slowly from the vocal systems of primate ancestors. Humans did not invent communication from nothing. Animals already used sound to signal danger, emotions, or location. What changed was human lifestyle. Early human groups became larger and more socially complex. They needed to plan hunts, coordinate tasks, teach skills, and communicate about things far away in time or space. Gradually, the human vocal tract and brain adapted. Speech became more flexible, more precise, and more powerful. Language emerged because human life demanded it. And once humans had the biological foundation for language, the next step was how each new generation learned it. According to Steven Pinker, babies are not blank slates. Even in the first days of life, they prefer human voices, distinguish speech sounds, and detect rhythm. This early sensitivity shows that humans are biologically prepared for language. Children discover grammar on their own, without formal teaching. They follow predictable stages of development no matter what language they are exposed to. But this biological ability is only half the story. Children also need interaction. They need people talking to them, responding to them, and engaging with them. Without that social exposure, the language system cannot fully develop. Cases like Jeannie demonstrate the importance of early exposure. When children grow up without hearing language during the critical period, they can learn vocabulary later in life, but they struggle with grammar, sentence, structure, and complex language patterns. This shows that language learning relies on both the human brain and human relationships. Biology provides the capacity, social life activates it. This becomes even more interesting in children who learn not only one language, but two. Bilingual children are capable of keeping their languages separate from an early age. Mixing words between languages is normal and reflects the inputs they hear. Quality of input, how meaningful and responsive it is, matters more than quantity. Bilingual children often develop stronger attention skills, greater cognitive flexibility, better metalinguistic awareness, and larger combined vocabularies. But their development is also shaped by social pressures. If a minority language is stigmatized or seen as less useful, children often shift toward the dominant language, losing proficiency in the home language over time. Language growth depends heavily on lifestyle, family practice, and community values. Another article explores the politics of good and bad English. Complaints about poor grammar or incorrect speech rarely come from linguistic facts. They come from social judgment. Language becomes a way to evaluate morality, intelligence, responsibility, or class. Prescriptivist rules often reflect nostalgia and authority rather than how language actually works. Meanwhile, linguists consistently find that all dialects follow rules and show internal structure. This ideological policing influences everything, from whose voices are respected to whose speech is mocked. These ideas appear not just in classrooms or newspapers, but in the media consumed from early childhood. Libby Green's analysis of Disney films shows how children learn language-based stereotypes. Certain accents consistently match certain character traits, such as heroes with mainstream American English, villains with foreign or non-standard accents, British English being associated with authority or elitism, and African American English with humor or side characters. Even when movies take place in non-English speaking settings, the main characters often speak perfect American English, while minor characters have heavy foreign accents. These portrayals teach children which voices are good, trustworthy, or funny, and which voices are bad and dangerous. This connects directly to real-world attitudes toward dialects such as Ebonics. The discussion of Ebonics demonstrates that African American English is fully rule-governed dialect with its own grammar and patterns. It expresses distinctions that standard English lacks. These patterns are grammatical, consistent, and expressive. Yet, the dialect is often stigmatized because of racial and social biases. The Oakland School Board controversy showed how society resists recognizing marginalized speech as valid, even when linguists widely support it. Contrastive teaching approaches which compare Ebonics and standard English side by side improve student outcomes dramatically, but ideology often overrides science. Another article explores English as a global force. English is the dominant language of technology, science, higher education, diplomacy, and global communication. Its power is not the result of superior grammar. It comes from colonization, expansion, economic influence, and modern globalization. Spanish and Chinese have large numbers of speakers, but far fewer global domains. Meanwhile, many small languages face endangerment. Language power reflects political and economic structures, not linguistic quality. This global pattern mirrors historical processes that shape the languages spoken today. The article on Indo-European origins describes how languages such as English, Spanish, Greek, Russian, and Hindi all descend from a common ancestor called Proto-Indo-European. Two major theories explain how this ancient language spread, one being spread through warfare and nomadic horse culture, and the other being spread through early farming communities. Both theories link language spread to human lifestyles, violence, migration, social change, and agriculture. Languages move with people, technology, and cultural practices. This brings us to the final major shift in the story of language, writing. David Olson's article argues that writing changes how humans think. Writing turns speech into something visible and analyzable. intelligible. It allows definition, logic, complex arguments, and careful interpretation. Literate societies develop new cognitive tools, such as abstract reasoning and formal structure, that oral societies do not require. Writing also changes the relationship between speaker, text, and reader. It makes language seem fixed, correct, and permanent. It creates the idea of standardized forms and teaches us to analyze language as an object. When all of these ideas are put together, a larger pattern becomes clear. Language is biological. Humans are born ready for speech as described by Pinker and Hockett. Language is cultural. Words and styles reflect the shared beliefs and practices of a community. Language is social. It forms through relationships, identity, interaction, and belonging. Language is political. Accents, dialects, and varieties are judged through power structures, not grammar. Language is cognitive. It shapes how people think, and writing transforms how people reason. Language is historical. It spreads and changes with migration, farming, conflict, and human movement. And language is learned through lifestyle. Media, discrimination, schooling, family habits, and personal identity all teach people what kinds of speech are valued or stigmatized. Taken together, these articles show that language is not just a system of communication. It is a living part of human existence. It forms our thoughts, our identities, our opportunities, and our worldviews. Language is life, and life is always speaking through language.